Hey readers! Today we will keep reading from the book Pedro First Grade Hero. This is the last chapter in our book. It is called Pedro for President. I bet you are already thinking about what might happen in this chapter. Some schools have class presidents. Since it is called Pedro for President, I'm thinking he is running for president. Readers, today when we read, we're going to keep paying close attention to the ways the different parts in the story fit together. As we read, be thinking about how Pedro's experiences in this chapter are different or similar to his other experiences. Pedro for president. School, elections. Pedro told Miss Winkle, "I am running for president of our class." "So am I," said Katie Woo. Miss Winkle asked them, "What can you do for our class?" "I can do magic tricks," said Pedro. "I can tap dance," said Katie. We learn on this page that both Pedro and Katie Woo are running for president. I'm wondering right now if that might be a problem in the story. I wonder if both of them running will cause a rift in their friendship. That means they might not get along. "Those are fun," said Miss Winkle. "But how will you help the class?" "I don't know," said Katie. "I'll have to think," said Pedro. That seems to be a big question. How will Pedro or Katie help the class? As we keep reading, let's see if we can find the answer to this question. That night, Pedro painted a poster. His brother Paco wanted to help. He put his messy hands all over it. "I can fix this," said Pedro. He painted. "Vote for Pedro. I will give you a helping hand." "Good work," said his father. "You are using your head." Do we know how Pedro will help the class yet? Turn and tell your buddy. Good job, readers. We don't know yet. As we keep reading, let's be on the lookout for how he will help the class. The next day, Miss Winkle said, "Before we vote tomorrow, Katie and Pedro will each give a speech. You can tell us why you should be president." "I'm not good at giving speeches," said Pedro. "I am," bragged Katie Woo. How is Katie feeling here? How is Pedro feeling? Turn and tell your buddy. Good job, readers. Did you say Katie is feeling good or confident and she likes to give speeches, but Pedro is feeling worried? He says he's not good at giving speeches. Let's think about how Pedro would sound when he said, "I'm not good at giving speeches," and how Katie would have sounded. Let's reread their lines like they would sound when they're talking. "I'm not good at giving speeches," said Pedro. "I am," bragged Katie Woo. Now you try it. Read Pedro's line. Now read Katie's line. Good job, readers. Pedro tried to write a speech. Just then, Roddy threw a pencil at the goldfish bowl. Pedro jumped up and caught the pencil. "You saved our fish," cheered Barry, "and you found my favorite pencil." I'm wondering if this page is important to the story. Keep thinking about that as we read. Are we beginning to get an answer to how Pedro could help the class? Pedro tried to write a speech again, but he saw Jojo looking sad. "What's wrong?" he asked. I got a bad grade on my math test, said Jojo. Don't worry, said Pedro. You can do better tomorrow. Maybe I can cheer you up with a joke. Pedro asked, Why is 6 afraid of 7? Why? Asked Jojo. Because 7, 8, 9. Ha, that's funny, said Jojo. I feel better. What did you notice about Pedro with the pencil and with Jojo? Turn and tell your buddy. Good job, readers. Did you say he helped his classmates? I'm wondering if that will be a clue to how he can help the class. That night, Pedro asked his dad, What should I say in my speech tomorrow? Arf! Barked Peppy. I can't say that, Pedro joked. The next day was the election. Katie gave a great speech. Miss Winkle asked Pedro, Is your speech ready? No, said Pedro. Roddy yelled, I want a boy to win, and I know what we should do. What? Asked Jojo. Roddy said, There are more boys than girls in this class. So if all the boys vote for Pedro, he will win. That's not fair, said Pedro. You should vote for the best person, boy or girl. That was a wonderful speech, said Miss Winkle. I'm voting for Pedro, said Barry. Me too, said Jojo. Pedro is a team player. What did Pedro show us about how he is on this page? Turn and tell your buddy. Good job, readers. Did you say he's kind? He wants to win fairly. He wants to do what's right. He stands up for others. Pedro asked Katie, Will we still be friends if I win? For sure, said Katie. We will always be friends. They shook on it. The class counted the votes. Guess who won? Pedro. I promised to be a terrific president for everyone, said Pedro, and he was. Let's think back across the book. The author gave us several examples that would make Pedro a good choice for president. What are the events in the book that show that Pedro is a good choice for president? Turn and tell your buddy. Good job, readers. Did you say he helped others? He stuck up for others. He was kind. He was brave. He was friendly. Remember, today and every day as you read, you can compare and contrast the characters' experiences in the story, and you can describe the main characters, and you can tell how their experiences are the same or different.